How do we define strength? Huge muscle? Six packs? Who is a strong man? Is he the person that can beat the life out of people? The greatest boxer or the greatest wrestler that ever lived? We know that what we're about to say is nothing new. But knowledge is different from awareness, right? And so many people are not aware of what force really means when it comes to the human strength. As you all know, I've always premised my thought on the relationship between reason and passion. Reason being a means of attaining logical deduction and conclusion to seek intuitively fundamental truth and to act in a plausible manner. Passion being an instinctive emotional reaction that pulls man towards his caprice and his desires. Now, the issue of strength falls under these two categories. A strong person either follows his reason or he follows his passion. The question is, which of these he follows, and how can we define ultimate strength? Last year, I read 2 books on psychology, which, in my opinion, shed more light on the relationship between these two entities, between reason and passion. Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman and Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. These are books that I highly recommend to every inquisitive mind watching this video. In Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman explains to us that our behavior is determined by 2 systems, which he called System 1 and System 2. System 1 is impulsive and intuitive in nature, which I will consider in the philosophical perspective as passion. But it also has its own benefits as well. If you hear the roar of a lion, what do? You run. That's great, it's good for survival. But this same system could also lead to some irrational behaviors if care is not taking place. I would argue, in the light of what is going on right now in the world, that people ravaging the marketplaces for toilet papers is the work of System 1. In case you haven't watched my spoken words on the COVID-19 crisis, I will put a link here and in the descriptions below. System 2, however, is a thinking system. It takes time and deduction to come into conclusion. Daniel Kahneman compared this system to a parent to System 1. Once again, in the philosophical perspective, I would like to consider this as reason. Now, why are we talking about these books and these systems? Daniel Kahneman wrote in his book that many people are overconfident, prone to place too much faith in their intuitions. They apparently find cognitive effort at least mildly unpleasant and avoid it as much as possible, which means that many people tend not to use their thinking brain, cognitive effort, because it is difficult to do than something that comes instinctively. This is where the cognitive laziness of the System 2 comes from. So when you find yourself in a state of anger, for example, in a state where you're just willing to smash everything, to punch that guy, and you can do it, you have the physical strength to do it. But doing it at that point in time will be giving access to your System 1. It is easy because it requires the least cognitive effort. It is intuitive in nature. What will be difficult to do is to refrain yourself, control yourself, and give access to your thinking brain to solve the problem in another manner, which may later require punching, who knows. But at the first instant, you shouldn't resort to your System 1. In this context, I mean. In Chapter 6 of Emotional Intelligence, Daniel Goleman narrated an incident which occurred when he was in college. I won't be going into the details, but he mentioned in the end that narrative of an ordeal by terror is my own. It is to this day, for me, the most convincing evidence of the devastating impact of emotional distress on mental clarity. I now see that my ordeal was most likely a testament to the power of the emotional brain to overpower, even paralyze, the thinking brain. If the emotional brain is very powerful over the thinking brain, if System 1 is powerful over System 2, if passion is powerful over reason, then the ultimate strength will be the struggle of the latter against the former, the struggle of the thinking brain against the emotional brain, the struggle of reason against passion. The strong man is not the one who fights and defeats the other. The strong man is one who controls himself at the time of fear and anger.